So Donald Trump's attorney general, Pam Bondi, is now seeking the death penalty for Luigi Mangione. I hope I said his name properly, his last name at least. And the claim is that it was an act of political violence so horrible and so atrocious in nature that we must sentence this man to death. That's what they're saying. Is it was such a horrific and evil and disgusting act that Pam Bondi and Trump and friends must jump in, because we know this is at Trump's direction. This is all from Trump. Pam Bondi, at Trump's direction, is now trying to have Luigi sent to the afterlife for what he allegedly did, not even proven yet. But they're already directing the U.S. attorney in that district of New York to seek the death penalty for Luigi, despite the fact that the man hasn't even been found guilty yet. But let's look at the report and let's see what's going on. Let's get to the full context of it all.
Attorney General Pam Bondi directing federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty for Luigi Mangione. He is accused of shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a street in New York City. In a statement, Bondi calls the murder, quote, a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination, an act of political violence. The murder happened back on December 4th. Mangione was arrested 5 days later in central Pennsylvania. He faces federal and state charges, and the federal charges made him eligible for that death penalty.
Well, notice, and that's the key part right there, an act of political violence. This is the reason why Luigi might get fried. Is because what he allegedly did is an act of political violence. Understand that in their eyes, healthcare is political. You feel like people have the right to not be rendered bankrupt and destitute because of their health issues? That's political. And if you do anything violent about it, which I'm not endorsing what Luigi allegedly did, that's not the recourse. But what Trump and friends are doing is sending a message to us, the plebs, the peons, the peasants. Know your place and accept your lot. And any attempt to emerge from this hell, this healthcare hell, will be met with the utmost amount of legal interference. We will sentence you to death, is literally what they're saying here. If we read the DOJ little article about this press release from Pam Bondi, released on April 1st today, here's what she said. Pam Bondi cursed the nation with this statement today on the internet. She says, Luigi Mangione's of Brian Thompson, an innocent man and a father of 2 young children, was a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. Now, when she says shocked America, she's trying to give off this idea that America couldn't believe a healthcare CEO could be slain by a common man. And the American public were aghast and shocked and disgusted that this could ever happen and can't believe how horrible of a man Luigi is. Open up TikTok and just type in Luigi. It's a bunch of like this man has like an army of fangirls. Like, he probably has as many fangirls as there are U.S. Marines right now. Like, this man has an entire army of people who love him on the internet. The only people I can think of who have said something, negative or have derided Luigi are rich, famous people like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. Unsurprisingly, only the nobility, only the elite seem to be really, upset about this, disturbed by this. And that's not to say that we as, average, everyday people should be in any way, shape, or form condoning or supporting, murder, assassination. These things are in no way, shape, or form acceptable, and in no way, shape, or form the right, path of recourse. But what options are the American people being given? And it's interesting because the conservatives, who are like mindless bots, when Shapiro and Walsh condemned Luigi, what did the conservatives do? They actually fought back. Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh's audience were like, yo, you're out of touch. We actually understand why Luigi did what he did. We may not condone it. We may not think of it as a positive thing. We may not support it, but we get it, and we're upset too. The same people who vote for no health care, the people who voted for a concept of a plan, the people who voted for a fan fiction healthcare plan, those people, even they, felt like Luigi was an expression of American rage. So when Pam Bondi sits there and types, "It shocked America," what she means is it shocked the elites of this country, the elites who seek to step on, trample on, and just strangle the common man. And when I say the elites, I mean the conservative elites. People sit there and say, the Republicans did everything in their power to gut the Affordable Care Act, and then after successfully gutting it, demonized it. The Democratic Party, for its faults, have tried and failed because like 30%, maybe even half of the nation is brainwashed by this this long-winded propaganda, campaign orchestrated and constructed by the likes of Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh. It's worked. After about 40 some years of this propaganda, it's worked. To the point where even the people who know something's wrong can't help but just keep voting R, knowing they get nothing in exchange for their healthcare in the 21st century and the supposed greatest nation on earth. We can't even take care of one another's health. It's sick. Let's go on to read this nonsense. After careful consideration, totally not coming from a place of fear, after careful consideration, I have directed federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty in this case as we carry out President Trump's agenda to stop violent crime and make America safe again. Yes, we're going to be safe by having measles parties, by being randomly deported to Ecuador by Trump. Or El Salvador, excuse me. That makes America safe again? There are multiple mass shooters that have yet to receive any death penalty. Now, I understand this case is federal, he crossed state lines, etc., but nonetheless, you could at least expect from this administration to at least tweet out some kind of demand for the death penalty for someone who engaged in a mass shooting, but instead you get nothing but silence. Silence. If you're not going to ban the guns, which frankly I don't want, but if you're not going to ban the guns, can we get some kind of consolation as the public? Can you at least ask for the death penalty for a mass shooter? Nothing at all. But this guy is the one you want to put to death. Can we guess why? Come on, let's not even pretend here. The murder was an act of political violence. She says the murder was an act of political violence. And this is what it is. Because they can sit there and say, oh, he stalked and murdered a father and a husband, which he did. And you cannot separate that reality from this act. Luigi Mangione did kill a father, a husband, a son. Okay? Any of us could have been the CEO. That's just life. Any of us could have been born this guy and walked down this path of life that could have led us to be the United Healthcare CEO. So I am in no way, shape, or form trying to dehumanize this man to justify anything. But what I want us to understand and not forget for 1 second is the language they use is so, it shows where all of this is coming from. She sits there and says that the murder was an act of political violence. There is absolutely nothing political about the fact that people are losing their livelihoods because of their health in the 21st century. People in ancient tribes came together to take care of the sick and the lame and the injured. We can't even do that in 2025? It's political. But the reality is it is political because conservatives have made it their agenda, their goal to politicize this and to shape and mold the minds of conservative white America against proper health care. Against universal health care, against even the Affordable Care Act by calling it Obamacare, knowing all the while millions of their voters rely on this. It is only political because you have made it political, and you, of your own free will, have chosen to brainwash millions and millions of Americans to hate themselves. And now all of a sudden you want to utilize that very same brainwashing against the American people. It was an act of political violence, allegedly, and that is why they are afraid. They're afraid because they've seen the reaction Luigi has gotten. They know people like him. They know average, everyday people, conservative and liberal, can't help but want to buy Luigi a beer. I'm not condoning Luigi. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. When I go on the internet and I see a TikTok of Luigi sitting there with the orange jumpsuit and I open up the comment section, you would have thought Luigi turned water into wine. You would have thought Luigi like multiplied the fish and the bread. You would have thought Luigi was like a divine being. The way everyone in the comment section has everything, nothing negative to say about him. No one has had anything negative to say about him besides rich and powerful, influential people. How interesting. How interesting. Mangione's actions involved substantial planning and premeditation, and because the act took place in public with bystanders nearby, he may have posed a grave risk of death to additional persons. Totally not like January 6th. Totally not like the people who went into the Capitol and beat cops over the head with flags. Totally not like that. No way, shape, or form could bursting into the Senate chamber or the House floor cause you to be shot and someone else shot around you. Oh no, absolutely not. Those people should be freed, but Luigi, death. This is what we're dealing with. These are the people we're dealing with. And we're just supposed to sit here and reconcile with these people when it's all said and done. I implore you guys to read up on Sherman. Read up on Sherman in the Civil War. Read up on his mentality toward these people the last time they did this shit. These people know what they're doing, and they're all in on this together. From the voters to the politicians to the pundits to the billionaires, it is all one big act of treason against the United States. One big act of treason. Pretending like they give a damn about the potential risk of health to other persons. They didn't even say risk of health, they say risk of death. Because, if they don't die, we don't want to actually help them and take care of them after being shot. But if they die, boo-hoo. These people are sick. They are sick. It all ends with following federal murder charges handed down on December 19th of 2024, Attorney General Bondi has now directed acting U.S. Attorney Matthew Podolsky to seek the death penalty in this case. So, Pam Bondi is proud to be Donald Trump's right-hand stooge, whose job is to basically villainize herself in the eyes of the American public, all to ensure the safety of the elite, of the oligarchy. This is the reason why Elon Musk is shrinking away from Doge, or at least he claims to be. I highly doubt that given the fact that Elon Musk is very clearly drunk on power. But this is the reason why Elon Musk is shrinking away from Doge, at least publicly, because he's afraid. He's constantly complaining about threats against his life. He's constantly complaining about people's anger toward him. He's constantly complaining about Tesla stock dropping. It doesn't register to him that his evil acts and his malevolence might elicit a negative response from the general public. In his mind, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am elite. Why won't they bow before me? Why won't the peasants decorate my path with petals from roses? Why won't they shower me with praises? These people are so disconnected from reality that if the general public doesn't treat them like serfs in the 1300s, something's wrong. This is why Donald Trump's fucking commerce secretary Howard Lutnick will sit there and talk about, if Social Security didn't go out last month or this month, the only people who'd complain about it are fraudsters and scammers. My mother-in-law wouldn't complain. He can comfortably say these things because he's a billionaire. If Social Security didn't come out this month, if the payments weren't made, he could take care of his mother-in-law easily. Those payments aren't a whole bunch of money. $3,000 a month is nothing for him. He leaves that piece of information out to compel the millions and millions of Americans at home to think, well, maybe I don't need Social Security. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it is. Because they're preparing you. They're preparing you for the collapse of these social safety nets. At best, they're going to transition these social safety nets into the hands of the rich and the powerful and the wealthy. At worst, they get rid of them entirely and just leave you to die. These people are soldiers of Satan. These people are weird, they're evil, they're disgusting, and they're filth, and society cannot move on with these people. We cannot reconcile with these people unless they pay a significant price. That's just the reality of it. These people are insane. These people are deranged. And the reason why they're doing this is because they are afraid. Between the attempt on Trump and the threats against Elon and what happened to the United Healthcare CEO, the oligarchs are terrified because they know that from this moment forward, every single policy plan they implement will further enrage the general public. And they need to send a message, a threat to the general public, warning them that if you step out of line, this could be you. That is what this is about. It's all about intimidation. It's all about asserting a sort of hierarchy of dominance between the rich and the poor that we haven't seen in this country since we were colonies or since the Gilded Age. That's the unfortunate reality of what we're dealing with. It's sick. It's twisted, and I don't understand why people have been like happy and gleeful to sign up to be a part of this, because it's not going to end well. Trump's probably going to be the only one who gets away with this. He's very old. His health isn't the best. I give him 10 more years before he's out of here. The rest of you, you want to be a part of this? You want this to be your legacy? You want the people to be this mad at you? MAGA, there's only a small segment of the country willing to go down on the sinking ship with Trump. Only a small segment. Once Trump goes for that third term, his support will significantly decline. Much less what's already happening within the span of 3 months of him being in office. These people are in the wrong. They're on the wrong side of history, and unfortunately, this is all going to have to play out before our very eyes, and we're all going to end up going to hell with them. They're doing this to Luigi because they are afraid of you. They're afraid of you. But rest assured, I can tell you this much, and I can tell you this for sure. Regardless of what happens to Luigi, nothing is going to change. If we don't have some kind of legal recourse to address healthcare in this country, much less all of the other issues and rights that they're going to destroy in the next coming, 4 years, there will be more violence from vigilantes. This will not mitigate the problem, but only exacerbate it. When you don't give people legal avenues to solve their disputes like lawsuits, they kill each other. They engage in blood feuds. This is the purpose of all of these things, to shift us away from violence and chaos and to give us legal, civilized means by which to address problems. The Trump administration is adamant and resolved to destroy any and all civilized paths of recourse and to force the just and righteous hand of the American people to eventually deal this administration a judgment blow. That is the reality of it. So they can do whatever they want to Luigi. Nothing will change. People's feelings on Luigi will never change. And this is only going to exacerbate violence in the future. Mark my words.